Hi everyone, it's Leanne and I'm here with CJ and Anita.
Hey everyone, happy
Hi
Saturday.
everyone. Hi, happy Saturday.
A very happy Saturday over here this way.
So where do we start with this?
Well, Subpoena Gate is almost over. It seems like, well, it's over for you.
It's over for me, and it's over for all the subpoenas that I was part of, full stop, like writing the motions to quash and helping out and everything. It was very much a collaborative effort. So Lauren, it's already on the docket with Ezra Hutchison's letter, but obviously Lauren, Ashley, and Cassidy are also out, which is great news. So that's a huge success.
Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations, Leanne, you're a star.
No, honestly, God, it really was like a group effort. We work. If any, it's such a stupid move to make, actually, to subpoena, people like that just ad hoc, because it naturally brought us all together and like, right, okay, what are we going to do? How can we help each other? And we pooled all of our strengths, and we all kind of helped each other, and it was amazing. It's just brought us all together now. So thank you, Blake Lively.
Yeah, that's the positive part of that, is that, you guys all, showed you guys' heart, and, a lot of these content creators, we got to see, like, what happened when their feet were put to the fire and they succeeded,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They didn't retract or anything. Ashley kept making videos, Lauren kept making videos, Cassidy kept making videos, you kept making videos. It didn't silence anybody. If anything, it made you guys' voices louder and stronger, because you guys were all speaking together.
It's basically they picked a fight in an arena that I'm comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
I can write these things, I can file these things, I know what law to use and how to use it. And I'm proud of what I filed. I'm proud of everything that went into it. I have no regrets. And I think that, I don't know if it was a combination, but there may have been things in there that, because now the effect of them saying, look, we're going to just withdraw these subpoenas, all the motions to quash, can you please rule them as moot, like deny them because they're now moot because we're not going to force them. That means the judge technically is not going to have to read the motions to quash, except he is.
So we're gonna make him.
Because I intend to. That's not okay. I've wasted 2 weeks, right, where I have been up at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I haven't been to bed. I've maybe had 3 hours sleep, and then I'm getting back up, and I've been working on these. I've worked on, helping with 4 motions to quash, right? Oh, I was helping with 3, and then I got my own. Mm-hmm. And it's like doing all of that, right? Because, I mean, Cassie did a huge amount as well. Like, it was such a group effort. Lauren added her personality, and hers was smooth, but it was so Lauren, like, when it was brilliant. And then obviously with Ashley, we had, there was international law we had to consider for mine, but that's fine. English law, I'm qualified in that. I know what I'm doing. But we also had to look at Canadian law. But again, thankfully, there's some foundations for that as well that come from the English common law. So there was a lot of work to do. I didn't spend time with my family. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. My diabetes is all over the place because it's not been managed. I'm stressed. And up until about an hour ago, I'm going on holiday on Friday for 2 weeks. And I had a deadline to, I would have got their reply the day I was actually going away. And then I would have had to respond 4 days later whilst I'm in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean on a cruise ship. So I paid £400 for the internet in preparation of that, and now I don't need it. Oh. But I can't get a refund. So, like, the time, energy, effort, the dent to my health that this has cost me, has been it's been something. And
And
I'm
that's
comfortable doing these things. I'm experienced doing these things. I can't imagine what it was like for people, you know, like Lauren or like Ashley, who, you know, they're not used to seeing this kind of stuff. You know, the stress and the anxiety must have been off the charts.
mhm. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I was telling you that it made me start to think about, you know, Blake Lively's past and the times that she's done, you know, things to like the layman person, you know, like, you know, making the people spend money on like a new composer, a new editor, and all that stuff. Like, it's just been like costing people money, costing people time, even with the costuming and all that stuff, the wardrobe for It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
Like, it's time and effort and money that it costs people, and then she just keeps doing it. It's just like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm seeing that people. I've seen a couple of questions, so I'm gonna grab them quickly. Hi Tiffany. So hey, old just. Oh, sorry, I'm falling over my tongue here. It's late here. It's always late when I come on a live. Hey, all, joining late and just catching up. Can someone tell me why Janessa's was withdrawn separately? Her silence has not been negotiated. That's not the case. It has just been withdrawn. I've spoken to Janessa. There has been no mention of any confidentiality or non-disclosure or anything like that. No one's silence has been brought, and that wouldn't stand up anyway. You can't say, well, you know, we'll withdraw this subpoena, but only if you shut up. Because if you're willing to withdraw the subpoena, it's unnecessary. So her lawyer would have gone straight and made an argument to the court with that. So I don't believe that there's been an agreement that she will be silent on Blake Lively or this case. I also don't believe that she's been asked for a declaration or to give anything over. It's, from my understanding, it's just simply been withdrawn. And what we've seen on the docket, and hers is not included in the letter that's gone on the docket 1 because she didn't file a motion to quash. And that letter is specifically referring to the people who filed a motion to quash, because that letter is asking the judge to deny them as moot, because, you know, they're basically saying, Judge, look, you don't need to worry about this now because it's no longer an issue. We're just going to withdraw them. So, you know, we don't need to respond, and you don't need to, you know, look at the motions. You don't need to just make any decisions on them. So Janessa's was just pulled. I don't know if anyone else's was. We haven't been told. We're going to have to wait for these people to come out and say. It may be that all of them are being pulled. It may be that certain ones are being kept in, because they're not all. It's not just that they're all the same. You know, it's not as simple as that. They look like the same issue, but actually there's different challenges. You know, there'll be reasons why they wanted specific people that may differ from other people. There were certainly different arguments in terms of, you know, I'm British, Ashley's Canadian. You know, those are arguments that the American people didn't have. So that it's not a one size fits all. It's just Ezra Hudson tried to serve a subpoena that was a one size fits all, and that's not how it works. But we'll have to hear more from Janessa about that, really. I think there's another one. Yeah, so this answers the same question. Hi, Rosewild. We don't know if they've withdrawn all the subpoenas, but if they are, they basically confirmed in the letter, which I'll pull up in a minute, that's just gone on the docket, that really they didn't have anything, any good reason to subpoena us. So if that's the argument for us, then it should apply to everyone that's on the subpoena. And if it doesn't, then the people who haven't filed motions to quash could now file a motion to quash and cite all of our subpoenas being withdrawn. Because that was going to be something I did when Janessa messaged me and said, oh, mine's been withdrawn. The first thing that went through my head was, right, great. So when I have to reply on the 5th of August to Ezra Hudson's opposition, unless she is saying, that's it, I'm just going to withdraw it and that's the end of it. In my reply, I would have been saying, well, you withdrew hers. What is different about mine? What justification you got to keep me in, but not that person? So the burning question is did I ever get a reason? No. I asked. I will I'll actually look for that email because it needs to be shown. I'm annoyed. Sorry, I'm just looking through my emails, and I can't tell you how many emails there are that start with Lively v Wayfarer Studios. Okay. I'm just going to quickly share this screen. This is the email. So I had a meet and confer all arranged for Friday. It was going to be first thing in the morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, with 4 partners, I believe they are. I think at least 3 of them are partners and 1 may be an associate. So that was that was all arranged. That was booked, and I had a medical emergency with my 5-year-old little girl. She can't control her blood sugar levels. So I emailed the next day and I said to, hi Serene, who is one of the senior partners. Unfortunately, I've had a family emergency come up and won't be able to attend our meeting today. And bear in mind, I've already been offered to discuss things over email, so this should not have been a problem. But I go on to say, look, my only questions are, 1, what is the basis for these subpoenas to Google, X, and TikTok? And 2, what are the reasons my name is on there? And I do get a bit snarky because that's just me, right? That's how I operate. This is how I work. And I do go on and say, I would want those questions answered in writing anyway. So if you could answer them with the time you now have free due to my having to cancel the meeting, that would be most appreciated. I'm happy to consider responding to questions you wish to ask that I consider to be non-intrusive. So, and the reason I say that, I make a point of saying, well, I need these questions, these answers in writing anyway, is because there was a big back and forth. Like when they arranged the Zoom, I had multiple emails. Oh, we're a 2-party state and 2-party consent state, and you can't record us. Can you confirm that you're not going to record us? You absolutely do not have our consent. And they were saying that like I hadn't just schooled them on that law in my motion to quash. When I made that point, like, no, Andy didn't commit crime. Yeah, and they're trying to tell me, this is all after they've had my motion to quash, and they're trying to tell me, oh, by the way, you may not be aware of our California laws surrounding recording and consent. Like, really? Am I not aware of that? I think I just told you. But so there was like loads of back and forth. Oh, you're not going to record? No, I'm not going to record. You're not going to have anyone sitting in with you? No, I'm going to have anyone sitting with you. You're not going to be out in public? No, I'm not going to be out in public. And then I started thinking, now, I've said a few times, my dad is really high up in technology. And I said to him, oh, look, they want to do a Zoom meeting. And he said to me, no, I don't use Zoom. He said to me, you are aware that actually displays the IP address in the bottom corner to the host? And I actually tried it. He did simulated a Zoom call with me, and sure enough, on his screen it had my IP address. He said, I would probably cancel that because you're going to be giving them part of the information that they're looking for anyway. So I said,
shady. They're so shady.
So I said to Cassie, and we went then and spoke to other people. Who did we speak to? It was Ken's. And we were like, yeah, this probably is not a good idea, actually, because you can get quite a bit of information from the IP address. So but I was going to cancel anyway, but as it happens, not that it was luck, my little girl was poorly. She ended up in hospital. So we had all of that. So I had to say to him, look, I'm really sorry, I can't make this meeting. And I said to him, look, you've got free time now. Please just answer these 2 questions. And I never did get a response, by the way. So that's where we ended up. No, I never met with them. I'm actually quite annoyed that's been misrepresented. I know they don't, I mean, I would be fine if they said, well, we've met and tried to meet and confer with, or have met with and conferred with some of the parties. But to my knowledge, they haven't met and conferred with any of us. I don't know about Ken's. I'm not speaking for Ken's. I'm not aware that again, I can't be 100% sure, but my knowledge is I'm not aware that Manat met with Lauren, with Cassidy, with Ashley. So I'm sure they would have said something.
They're trying to misrepresent again because like they keep on lying to the court. When are they gonna face the consequences? Like, are you guys gonna talk about this? How they've lied? Like, I guess you're gonna do the protective order, right?
We are still filing for a protective order. I'm slightly okay about whether I get one of them or not, because their email actually says, if I go and find that email I've had today.
Do you think that they're categorizing the meet and confer as like the back and forth emails?
No, because that's not meeting and conferring.
Okay. I just wasn't sure because I was like, why would they put they meet and conferred when they never met and conferred? But I was like, well, maybe they think that like, talking to each other through email is meeting and conferring. But I didn't know the legal terminology. I thought that was really weird in the letter.
Is that this one? Have I got the right one now? Hold on. I'm just checking screens to make sure I don't put up the wrong screen. Right, yeah, I got the right one. Okay, so this is the email I had today. So it says, hi, Leanne, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. In reviewing your moving papers, we have concluded that there is no further information required from the subpoena as to your account at this time. We have notified X that we withdraw the subpoena as to your username. Please see the attached notes to X, and I will show them. Thanks again for your time. Now, this is the next email after, the one I just went through a minute ago, where it's like, look, I can't make the appointment, but can you please answer these questions? They never did. This was the next email I had. So, but I did actually, I was a bit concerned at the wording, there is no further information required from the subpoena as to your account at this time. So I was like, okay, that's a bit vague. So I did actually, just going back into shares, sorry. I did actually email back and I said, look, it's at the top actually here, right at the very top. Do you have assurances that you will not be attempting this again at a later time? And where is it? There we go. So then I got a response back then. It said, the subpoena has been withdrawn in its entirety as to your account. Confirmed that we do not intend to renew the subpoena to your account. So for me, I had confirmation that, they're not going to have another go at this. But I'm not entirely sure everyone else has had that confirmation. So, but I will still be filing a protective order. I probably wouldn't get that because I will be including these emails, and in that email is an assurance I will also be filing for sanctions, though, for the farcical nature of all of this. Because the fact that they have filed this, they've served a subpoena on someone who holds my data, not me, but someone else who holds my data. They misspelled my name, so I didn't even get noticed. So I'm basically Van Zan 2.0. And, you know, but that wouldn't have held up because, and you will see, they've actually written to X and said, don't give the information. So that typo would not have held up anyway. They still would have had my data. But where was I going with this? Yeah, so they filed all of this stuff. And to me, and I think there's a lot of case law on this, the fact that they just withdrew it, I didn't even have to meet with them. I just filed a motion to quash. I made my argument, and then they didn't try and fight that. They just said, you know what, okay, we're going to pull it. And they didn't do it just for me. They did it for multiple people now. And that to me shows that they never intended to go through the process.
I think, by the way, Justa, I think there's like that is obviously the logical thing, but I also thought because it was given to Google and X July 3rd, even X got it on July 3rd, right? And
Yeah.
the fact that you guys got it like almost 2 weeks later, and knowing how connected they are, like I wonder, like
no, but
you need an allegedly ticker with Anita on here. I'm just kidding.
Sorry?
I said you need an allegedly ticker. It's because on my channel I have a little banner at the bottom that says allegedly. But I get what you're going with it, Anita.
Yeah, everything I say is alleged. Okay, I'm just thinking out loud. So I'm just like, because you know how they're really well connected, and they knew that, you know, they could have asked, I think, maybe that, you know, just can you just hold it and don't say it, because Google would be breaching their own user guidelines if they didn't let you guys know, and then they got all this information, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if to me, right, like what they were doing, first of all, like the name seemed to have been picked at random. The one thing I did notice is if you take a lot of the people on, I mean, nearly all of the Google accounts are serious content creators who do follow this case. There's 20 of us on X. There's only 2 people, one of them myself, who would be considered serious content creators who discuss this case. The other 18, most of them appear to have been suspended or, you know, inactive, or, you know, just really not accounts that really cover this too much. And then the TikTok ones are just ridiculous. I'm not even sure what went on there. But with the X one, because the Google accounts, well, we thought, well, they got it close to the bone anyway, because the subpoena cutoff date is the 16th of July, and it is for the X one and the TikTok one. But so the account that actually got the notice, the one and only account that I'm aware of who got the notice for the X subpoena, got it on the 17th, the day after the cutoff. Technically, by the time I was told about it, it was the 18th, because I'm in a different time zone. So it's like, what happened with X? What happened with X? And do you know what else is funny? Right?
The reply.
Yeah, their reply. Oh my God, their reply.
Yep.
I honest God, I'm gonna have to do something where I actually I'll compile it so all the personal data. I'm not going to screen share my X account, because then I might be giving Blake Lively what she wants. But but I will compile something like a screenshot where it's just the messages, right? Because I've got the premium service, so I contacted the premium help center, and I'm like, hi, I think, because there was a typo as well, so I was like, look, I think the subpoena may have been sent to you. There may be a typo on the account. Can you please confirm what is going on and what I need to do? And I'm not joking. The response I had, I will read the response. I won't screen share, but I will read it. I can't even make this Are we past 15 minutes? We're past 15 minutes, aren't we?
Oh, the stream. I think we're at 30 minutes.
Great.
But,
you can this shit up.
oh, because of the cussing, I was like, what do you need? Yeah, that is so funny. But you're gonna have to add Elon. Like everybody in the chat should go and add Elon on that post.
Yeah, everyone needs to do that. Right.
Just
this is the response.
Like, Elon,
right?
what's up with this?
Huh?
I said just to ask Elon, like, what's up with this response? Control Alt Delete.
By the way, do you think like the content creators can ask like demand to know why it took them 10 days to let them know, and like it would have been so close to their deadline? Like they needed justification.
It was past the deadline. It was 2 days past by the time I found out.
Yeah. So like,
and I didn't even get formal notice. That was the most ridiculous bit. I was Van Zan 2.0. So this is what I sent on the 18th when I actually when someone contacted me. It was, hi, I think you've been subpoenaed for my details and I'm looking for advice. What should I do? Can you confirm if you've sent anything over, etc.? You know, that kind of thing. I got a response on Tuesday. So what date was the Tuesday? I should know this. It was the 22nd. And what I basically said was, and this is X Premium. It was, hi there, can you try the following steps and see if that resolves your issue? 1, check your network connection. 2, try accessing X from a private browser window. 3, ensure your browser is updated. 4, log out of your account. 5, clear cache and cookies. 6, turn off browser add-ons. 7, revoke third-party access to your account. Honestly, they were basically telling me how to reset the computer, thinking that would help me with the question of, have you been served a subpoena for my data?
That's so scary.
It's like they're pulling an Ezra on you.
Yep.
Yeah, so scary.
Well, to be fair,
How
I
could
still
you
got more
I
still got more information from X, even with that shitty response, than I did from Manat.
Ezra. Because Ezra was straight up like, take a message. I'm like, what do you mean take a message? Like, okay, what seems more like a better solution, okay? Just like think about it. Having your receptionist because I know like laymen were just calling, not even people involved, like, you know, people who are commenters and stuff were like, everybody wanted to know, like, is this real, you know, and like citizen journalists and stuff. So getting your phones blown up, asking about it, or literally just being professional and being like, yes, this went out or whatever to the content creators who did call or email or whatever, not take a message. Like, what? A message?
And you know, I couldn't get through. I tried ringing Ezra's office. Honest to God, I got through 3 times to a voicemail, and it's like, leave your name, number, and you know, and I'll get back to you. I'm like, I'm not leaving you shit. I'm not leaving you any. Like, you want my IP address through a Zoom account, and if I try and ring you, you want my name, address, my name and phone number? Are you kidding me? No. Like, just someone be present. You know, if you're serving these subpoenas, be present to take the phone calls.
And especially because her name was on the Google. On the X, her name wasn't on there, but on the Google ones, her name was on there as like, no, you know, this is your point of contact if you have any questions. It even said it right then and there.
Yeah. And I mean, like I say, we had nothing on the one that actually was, you know, sent for X. If you look at it, you know, the email from X, which again I didn't get, but I had a, you know, copy forwarded to me of, well, this is what I got, and there was no, you can email us. There's no contact Ezra at this number. There was nothing. All it was here's a number for the ACLU, which is completely useless for me. It's as simple as that. So we don't know if the companies have made their own objections. We don't know what they're doing because they're not talking to us. That's fair to say. That's not just X. That is Google and TikTok. None of the services have gone to the users and basically said, we're not we're going to file objections to this. We're going to, file, move to quash it. They've not said what they're doing on our behalf, which is why we took matters into our own hands. I like to call it like vigilante justice.
I keep saying that Leanne is Mel Gibson on Braveheart with that freedom part. Freedom. No, but seriously, Leanne, what a leader. And I don't know. I thought it was really cool that we got to see everyone's true heart, like all the content creators who came together to help each other and all that stuff. It was really, really cool to watch.
That was so nice, actually. And, I've had a lot of questions over my qualifications because I don't want to give the information out. I don't want to give any information like registration numbers and stuff out because, we've just seen what happened to Not Actually Golden. We've seen, and there have been a bunch of lawyers on both sides, the pro-lively ones too, who have had people who have gone nuts and started filing, false, salacious complaints to their regulatory authorities, to their employers. But I'm not putting myself in that position.
And you don't owe anybody any explanation.
I don't know, because I'm not licensed in the US, so it really does not matter. And I had people saying, well, a lot of naysayers and various things, and people causing all kinds of crap, with a faked LinkedIn profile, all kinds of shit going on, right? But I do feel like, well, I got to file this. It got a huge stage, and it got a lot of positive feedback, including from, TikTok lawyers and YouTube lawyers and things. So I kind of feel validated. My motion, which I filed pro se anyway, I never filed it in any capacity. I filed it pro se as a survivor of domestic abuse myself, who was annoyed with Blake Lively as a person, not as any legal professional. And I feel like by people constantly saying, oh, well, Leanne's a lawyer, Leanne's great, okay, I can write these things. But that's not what happened here. I filed it as a person to defend my rights and to speak to my experience as someone who's actually been through domestic abuse. And that was important for me. But I also do feel like my motion also speaks for itself when it comes to my ability with the law.
Your motion got them all the subpoenas withdrawn, public ones, to the point that they had to go to the judge and they lied, about the tags. Your motions that, it was powerful. That's why they went. They knew they were lying. So I would say, I think I also know who you're talking about. I think one of the things with the Blake Lively side is they literally do not fight you on the merit of anything. They're look at these idiots. They think, oh my God, it's pathetic. I think if Blake Lively came out and straight out said that, by the way, I lied, they will still not believe. That's just how sad it is. I think you're giving them too much, weight to what they're saying. I would just ignore. I block every person from Blake Lively's side that comment. They're all blocked. I don't even engage.
Normally I do.
Bachi Gohawks on TikTok made a really good video, if y'all don't follow her, but she made a really good video about that she has ChatGPT about engaging with Blake Lively supporters, and it gave her a really good deep psychological answer, because it's they've already have their mindsets, and the more you talk to them, the more it deepens them in their own ways. It's weird, you think oh, you can show them the light, but it's I know, it was a pretty interesting video that I was whoa, okay, cool.
Exactly.
It's a cult, by the way. This is what cults look like. This is what cults.
Well, that's all I had. My motion was good. I stand by it. Well, it's obviously done its job as well. And the only thing they could do is just kind of discredit me and go, oh, well, you're not a lawyer, so you're committing a crime. No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not committing a crime. Don't be bloody stupid. I'm filing as an individual pro se. So, and then they gave me the whole, well, you represented other people, blah blah blah. You're committing a crime. No, I gave some ideas and guidance to friends who had their own ideas too, you know? So, and that is what people do. That they help each other when you're all going through the same shit. And even when you're not going through the same shit, by the way, you know, just when you watch your friends struggling and you sitting there and you know you could do something that might make their life a little bit easier. Why? I don't get why people have to criticize me because I chose to help them.
Yeah, and you were helping before you even got your own, and then you had to deal with your own. So it was like, it was pretty crazy. It was really, really crazy for you. Like you always wanted to be the helper in the situation.
Tea drinker, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'll be honest, I'm proud of myself. Like it was daunting, even for me, if I'm being really honest. Like these are, you know, people who have resources. They have money, they have power, they have some of the best lawyers in the world, in theory. You know, I limit that. Their best lawyers made a lot of mistakes, like a typo in my name, you know? And that was daunting. It was one of the biggest, it's like this is one of the most public lawsuits currently, and to be pulled into it was interesting. It was really surreal. I actually didn't believe it was happening, but here we are. I'm not quite sure. I still haven't processed it, but yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's given me confidence as well. You know, it's given me confidence that I've still got it because I've had to take time out from my career to look after my little one. And I wasn't quite sure if, you know, when the time comes that I want to re-enter, am I going to be, you know, am I going to be a bit unpolished is probably the best way to describe it. But no, I feel like I could take on the world right now.
You could, by the way, if I were you, I would go and get interviews booked and talk about it and, like, you know, amplify. I would literally get somebody. Billy Bush had Elsie recently, you know, on the thing, and I would go and amplify how unethical they have been. They quickly tried to get sweep this under the rug. They filed it over the weekend, right? So that the judge doesn't. They wanted to be died down. I wouldn't let this. I would go.
Oh, we're not. No, we're not. They're not walking away from it that easy. I'm sorry.
No.
They're not wasting my time and, you know, causing all stress and anxiety. I had stress and anxiety. I should have been looking forward to, you know, packing and getting ready to go away later this week. Like, I'm still going to be filing sanctions and I'm still going to be making a complaint to the bar. That's happening because this was completely unnecessary. It was entirely foreseeable that this was going to blow up in her face. And I'll tell you what, from my own experience, right, what was one of two things is going on for that to have happened is, one, they've either got the most difficult clients in the world who are just not prepared to listen to the advice that they're paying a fortune for, or they really are the most unethical people and they are giving the worst advice in the world to their clients and then charging them through the asshole for the privilege.
Oh, I think it's all of the above.
Yeah, so do I. I think they are more than happy to take the money and not give a shit what they do, whether it works, whether it makes their client look bad, because they're going to get paid regardless of whether they win or lose this trial. They are.
I think Ezra got a bit scared about this. By the way, they've, like, you know, they went silent. They tried, I think they tried to do PR and legal move at the same time, and they fudged up big time.
You can swear.
And also, by the way, is there another lawyer just asking questions here? Is there any way to demand the judge to reprimand them for the lie, like to bring out their lie to their attention and just say that, oh, they immediately tried to do this and this is the only logical reason, so that you don't read of the substance of our thing? Is there something like you can do, like to bring attention to your motions to quash, because it shows so many lies that they've
Well, I'll be putting all of that in my sanctions.
Okay.
You know, I will be saying, well, look, you said you met and compared me. No, you didn't. That's a lie. It's another one. I do feel that a lot of the rest stuff, like I put in the ARIA manual. I put in the ARIA manual recording, you know, and a link there for the judge to go and have a look, to listen to ARIA manual admitting that he fired Justin Baldoni because of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
Which would support Wayfarer's claim that Ryan Reynolds interfered and used his influence to get WME to drop him. That's exactly what happened. The CEO of WME says that and is recorded saying that.
So wait, what happens with all the MTQs? Like, is because did the judge even get to him to read them? Like, he's got so
No.
much stuff. That was also my Roman Empire. It's like, are they really gonna flood the docket with like 63 motion to quashes? Like, that was one of the most intense things to just think about. Where it's like,
I think people were prepared to. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I sure as hell was prepared to. I mean, you know, for me, I had less to lose than the American citizens because, like, people like myself, Canadian, like Ashley and Shusty, you know, in reality, there was not a cat and hell's chance that they were ever going to enforce the subpoenas on us, but just because of things like the Hague Convention and the various hoops that they've got to jump through to, you know, to get a subpoena that is actually enforceable on us and the companies who hold the data. You can't just go to, with your American subpoena, to an American company and say, I want this data on this British subject, pass it to me. That's not how that works. You can't do that. So you've got to go through the correct channels. It's not just that they can't subpoena me personally. They can't subpoena any entity, regardless of where it's located, that holds my data.
Hey, they've done the Van Zan. They were trying to do this. And that's why I genuinely think they were like, nothing was mentioned to you guys earlier or sooner. I don't know. I'm a conspiracy theorist, maybe, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist in general, but I'm a conspiracy theorist when it comes to them because they're so shady.
yeah,
and they've proven
you never
themselves to be shady. Like, it's not coming out of thin air. Like, the way they've behaved over and over again, it just shows that they will do anything to win. And I think the reason why these content creators were subpoenaed because they wanted the following of people who have, well, Lauren, for using the C word, you have been like documenting or like breaking down, and you've been making fun of their filings or etc. And there are a lot of people, they just wanted to show that, oh, it was very randomized. It was a PR move that backfired. And I think they thought that Google and X wouldn't let you guys know. I really think that way. And I think that's why they delayed. And then probably like Google said that, okay, we have to, because maybe they might be liable for, you know, with all the information being shared. And that's why they delayed it to the last minute.
But Leanne, will the judge read it, or has the judge read it, or can he still go back and read it? Like, what does it mean to? I know you're probably going to get to the letters and stuff, but I was just wondering, like, what does it mean when they're like, okay, we want, you know, it's moot or whatever? Do those still stay on the record for him to read? Will he still be able to read those?
So, I mean, they'll remain on the docket unless they file a motion to strike. They're going to remain on the docket. What will now the judge doesn't have to read them because, you know, he's not got to make a decision. So, you know, he won't have to read them. Where he will read them though is when we file a motion for sanctions. We're going to say we're going to be referring, well, look, we asked for this in our motion to quash. You know, the other side have decided to withdraw. That's fine. But that technically renders the motion moot. However, here's all the reasons why they were assholes and they need to be sanctioned. And you should look at the motion to quash.
And like, can you say that how much longer are you gonna let them get away with these things?
No, I'm not going to say, because I can't say that anyway. Officer of the court. I'm not going to, you know, that's why my motion was very different to Cassidy's. You know, because obviously she got a bit feisty.
Good for her.
For her, yeah. You know, she was fed up, and rightly so. You know, I don't blame her one bit. But I'm held to a different standard. So, you know, and I just kind of got to the point. I spent 30 pages calling out all of Lively's bullshit. Honestly, I could have gone in there, used 2 pages, and said, these are all the reasons why this is completely unenforceable against me. I didn't. I used 28 pages to say Banzan, and Lively bad marketing, etc., etc., etc. And here's a few things, Judge, in case you weren't aware of it.
Oh,
and then 2 pages for the jurisdictional arguments.
Yep.
That's
And a
how I
lot of
did it.
people said that they worked as like amicus briefs. Well, I saw like a bunch of comments from different people on different platforms where they would be like, the motion to quash served kind of like amicus briefs for Baldoni, because they were basically advocating and presenting evidence the judge may not have seen before, and you know, retelling the story all over again.
Exactly. And you know, the whole point of an amicus brief, right, is bringing in people who have knowledge on the subject. Yeah. So like with amicus briefs, what we saw with Blake Lively was she brought in a bunch of, you know, domestic violence charities and things like that, and so, you know, all to sit there and sort of, you know, speak on her behalf, etc., etc. That's what they do. They come with they come in and they write something and say, well, we deal with this subject matter, we understand how it affects people, etc. Here's all the reasons why we support this person. That's what happened there. That's what an amicus brief does. So, however, I understand how subpoenas work. So if someone wants to call me an amicus brief, then fine. I wrote an amicus brief because the subpoenas were improper, they were terrible, and they were unenforceable in the end. And she can't have not known that. She cannot have genuinely intended to follow through. I think she threw them out and then just hoped that something. I think I literally wrote that in my motion to quash. You know, she served these subpoenas and then sat there with her fingers crossed.
It's a wish list. Remember, we're making T-shirts.
Yeah. Once a subpoena leaves the jurisdiction, it's nothing more than a wish list.
It's that Amazon wish list, just waiting, like dusty stuff waiting to be bought.
You put something on an Amazon wish list, that doesn't mean someone's bought it for you. It's just sitting there until someone takes action. But it's quite so one true Morty. My understanding is I've seen rumors. I haven't spoken to Shasti, but I've seen people suggesting that actually she has had hers withdrawn. But I don't quote me on that because I don't know. I've just Perez has been withdrawn. Lara's telling me. Perez Hilton has had his withdrawn as well. So it sounds like they are actually all being withdrawn.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to withdraw Candace's, because I was looking forward to that motion to quash response. And then she's also got that lawsuit from Macron too. So I was looking forward to seeing like what her lawyers filed. Because that's also like the interesting thing about all this is to see like the lawyers, like how they do. Because it's just like, you know, how you guys had to like write it all up. Like they also have to like write it all up. So I don't know, it gave me like a bigger appreciation watching you guys write it up for the lawyers who have to write it up. You know, like I got to see it like firsthand. So it was pretty cool.
I'm going to address something quickly though. I've just had the lovely Roman say something to me now. Hold on, I'm just going to find his message now. Where has he put it? Sorry, he's still typing. Right, okay. Let me just pull up the screen then. Right, I'm just going to get ahead of this because it's going to be spun as something it's absolutely not. And I'm going to screen share.
Live tea again? You always be having
live tea. Yeah. No, I'm gonna nip this in the bud because ex-patriarch and I'm happy to name him. Ex-patriarch has already put up a post full of his usual bullshit. So sorry, I don't mean to be swearing. It's an emotional time.
No, I love it. It's always live tea. Something always happens when we're on the live.
I know. So here, this is the letter that Lively has submitted to the judge, basically to let them know, look, we've withdrawn all these subpoenas. Please ignore the motions to quash. This quote, based on the third party's representations made in meet and confers, which by the way didn't happen, public statements and or information provided in their moving papers, there is no further information required from the subpoenas as to these specific third parties at this time. And obviously, I don't like the wording at this time, so I could actually file on that basis for a protective order and say, well, hold on a minute, she's left it vague. Ex-Patriarch is already spinning this as they've got something from us. And I'm going to be very clear, they have not. We've had nothing to give. I have admitted to emailing, because I wasn't going to hide it anyway. I didn't hide it from day one. And if I'd pretended that I hadn't emailed stuff to Brian Friedman, like the metadata find, then, and they would have just come at me at some point and said, well, hold on, this post here or this video here, you admit that you had contact with Wayfarer. And they would have had a chance to spin it. So I made a point of getting ahead of that in my motion to quash and saying, no, here you go. I'll lay my cards on the table. I've had this contact and this contact for these reasons. I was not asked, I was not paid, and I never received a response. So it is nothing to say that I voluntarily emailing Brian Friedman a bit of information I thought he might find useful, getting nothing in return, not getting a response, to try and spin that as, oh, see, you were part, there was a smear test. A smear test? A smear test? Smear sorry, that was
Pap smear.
yeah, sorry.
Well, it was gonna be.
It felt like one.
Oh my god!
Oh my
I cannot with you today, Leanne. I can't. Okay, the smear tag it was a smear.
Sorry. Al Perez is talking about me. I'll have to catch him later. Bless him. Yeah. So ex-Patriarch is already spinning this statement as, yeah, see, there was something, they were part of the smear campaign and all. No, we weren't. What? Everyone can read our motions to quash.
Yeah.
There is nothing in there.
Paid. He's getting paid for sure. I was like, why would you go like, are you so dumb? Or are you so, I don't know, it's like incapable of believing something that's outside of your reality? You know what I mean? Or like, it's just, I think he's getting paid, and I think people have to stop responding. And he's like rage baiting. Like, you know, once I commented on somebody's post who he tagged, and as soon as I saw that if I replied to a post and he would also be tagged, I was like, I deleted my post. I'm like, nope, I don't want him like to find my account or anything that way, because he's just so annoying. He's just so annoying. And I think like we should just all stop responding to him and let him run his mouth. Yeah. It's obvious. He's so obvious. His, how to say, his desperation. Like literally, he's so up their asses. I swear, I feel like he's going through Ryan's ass and then going to Blake's ass. That's how deep he's in there. So I think we should just stop. Like, he's full of shit. Sorry, I don't know. I could say it in a better way in my language, but this is just so.
You said allegedly, ticker.
Yeah, yeah. Allegedly, he's up there.
Allegedly, he's up the ass.
Yes.
But it's important though, just for me, for my purposes, to kind of say that this statement here specifically. Oh God, I'm not going to live this one down now, am I? Yes, I said that on the live. Yeah, this statement here, right? If any pro-livelys try and make that into, yeah, they got something, it's evidence, it's proof, blah blah blah, that is bullshit. That's a complete lie. The reason they're withdrawing all this is because they haven't got anything. Because they've had no conversations with me. So from my perspective, the only thing I've given them is, yeah, actually, I sent a couple of emails to Brian Friedman off my own volition with no incentive, no payment, and no response. No, not even a thank you. So, and I know damn well that's been happening on Blake Lively's side too. People have been sending stuff to her law firm. That's happening.
Yeah, if I were subpoenaed, I would like write 168 pages of my timeline of relevant events, how Blake Lively has been behind the scenes, and be like, please motion to quash. These are my opinions, like just it's this was all PR. Everybody knows it. Like, they're not stupid. They just knew, like, they're stupid PR wise, but legally they knew what they were doing. So they haven't caught up to the fact that we're not like mainstream media and we can think for ourselves. And I think that's their big problem. I think their ex-CIA guy is known like to be, I would say, with politicians, right? With like in politics and stuff, from what I understand, that was his job. And he deals with groups of people who are more in the political arena, and whereas the content creators and like celebrity gossips, that those things, we like the details, we like to see, like, prove fact. We don't just follow something that's just because it's said to us. And I think they've hired the wrong person for that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean,
Well, one of the things that I noticed that I had sent over to Ashley, who's the SEO expert. If y'all don't follow Ashley Brianna Eve, she helps you see everything. Because one of the things this morning, okay, so last night, what was trending was Selena Gomez and her birthday party and how Blake Lively wasn't invited. So if you went to Blake Lively News, that's what was like at the very, very top. It was just like all these stories, which is also weird. I don't know if like her people planned it or what, but I was like, her and Selena weren't even friends, so it makes no sense even why she wouldn't be going to her party. Like, it was just weird. But anyways, it was all these stories about how she didn't get an invite to Selena Gomez's party. And then this morning, the top story was the content creator one, and it had all like the stuff from NSTARS and Daily Mail and Variety and all that stuff. And so I thought that was crazy because I was like, I wonder if they didn't want, like, MSM was starting to pick it up. Like, they didn't want that to start trending. And so they're like, oh, let's quash it. Let's quash it. Let's hurry up and quash it. So I found that strange.
exactly. And we had Omid Jali as well. He's like I said to you the other day when we went live, he's a huge name in the UK for being a comedian. He's been in some seriously big films. Like, that was, for him to then do that whole thread. And then Lady C picked it up as well.
Oh, yeah, Lady C was this morning too.
Yeah. So it was starting to get some real traction. It was a bad decision. Like, I there was never going to be any good come from this. So I don't know why she did it. But I do have this. I was going to share this my motion. So bear with. Let me just find the attachment. So screen share. I'll share this attachment. Oh, actually, I've got it here. Oh, right. Can everyone see that? Can you all see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the letter, formal. It was sent to X Corp as well. Basically saying, oh, thank you, Shannon.
Shanonos.
Oh, is that? Did I get it right?
It's Shanonos.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes, it's great news.
And it's so cute. Look at the puppy. It made my whole Saturday.
I know.
You see this little pup.
So we have a letter here. Yeah, this is a letter that was attached to my email from Manat, where this is what they've done. This is them sending me a copy of what they've sent to X, and it's basically, we represent Blake Lively in this matter, and on the 3rd of July, we served a subpoena to X. A copy is enclosed for reference, so, and it is, there it is. Please be advised that Ms. Lively is withdrawing request number 10, which sought certain information related to the account at Kiara J 2001. So they've now got my name right. But I think at the bottom, it does actually say, I'm going to have to get that up actually, because I can't read it from this screen, but I'm pretty sure on the bottom,
Request
says,
number 10 inadvertently, right? That part?
Yeah, request number 10 inadvertently identifies the account as at Kiara Jade 200.
So they had to admit to the typo. Well, can you put this on a t-shirt, like on the back of the t-shirt, and then the front is like, I got subpoenaed by Blake Lively, and then this letter on the back.
Yeah,
while
why
you're on
not?
vacation. While you're on your vacation.
Oh, there is,
Wear
mouse mugs, pillows, we'll do it all.
I totally get a mug with this right here, this letter.
Yes, I know.
And then the typo, the smudge part on the other side of the mug.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come up with something because that's what I mean though, right? This is supposed to be a prestigious law firm, and they make a big deal out of it. Like when you go through law school, especially the postgraduate side, when you're practicing drafting and everything that goes with proper practice, you like it's a big deal. Like a comma in the wrong place, that can change the entire definitions, the meaning of a document, a sentence. It can change the meaning, and it's a big no. Like people get fired and lose, like especially because with all the routes of qualification in the UK, you have to do a period of employment, whether it be through a training contract, on a vocation scheme, like a pupillage for barristers, and so it's a little bit more laid back with the legal executives. But people have lost training contracts or lost pupillages because of minor errors like that, because it can result in a huge problem, which can then see the law firm being sued for, negligence. And it's just a whole heap of horseshit, really, that you don't want to get into, all for a typo. And these are all firms that is the case. Yeah, even the lowest firms, like you really got to be on the ball with the spelling and grammar. But for a prestigious firm like this to have made an error with the username, literally the one detail that they had to input, because they'll have these kind of, or the requests, they'll have like generic things, and they just either have it already made and then you input the names, or they copy and paste it, that will have like templates and things, to make, because otherwise they'd be writing these letters forever. But so the request itself would have been like a generic template they already had, all the details that you saw on the request, the financial information, the bank, the names, addresses, geolocation. That is a template that they've already got. All they have to do is copy and paste it. What required manual input was my username, and they got it wrong.
They got it wrong.
And that's
Rose's filed is saying that there's another filing where the footnote says no attorney fees, no protective orders. Rose's filed. What filing is it? What docket number is it, Rose's? She's saying there's a filing from Manat with the footnote asking judge to deny attorney fees, issue no protective orders in case she wants to subpoena again. What?
Haven't seen that.
What docket number is it, Rose's? But yeah, that little footnote is, they had the typo in your name, which I don't know if you're going to put that into the sanctions and stuff.
I don't know. I'll see how I craft it, because I'm going to be working on that tomorrow. So there's not going to be any content again. So this is why I'm jumping on here now. Well, if it's something simple, I will probably cover it and just do it, because I've been doing really brief posts and things just to kind of keep up with stuff. But yeah, I've not really had time to kind of do things in detail like I would. Kind of had my thread ready to go, because I was writing the thread and saving it as I was writing the motion to quash.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart. Number 496 on the docket. Okay, what's she saying?
Okay, we'll go to the docket then. I've got it in front of me.
Page 2?
The page 2.
Footnote. So let's see what it's saying, because I know Lauren had posted on X that she was still possibly thinking about contacting a lawyer to see what her options were if a protective order was still an option. So that'd be interesting if it said something about no protective orders.
So hold on, is this 496? So on page 2, I can bring it up actually. It's not quite that.
They misinterpreted it. She said it was on Reddit. So.
No, only a little bit. That's all. I'll read it now. So this footnote, can you all see that?
It's still the same one as your letter. You didn't switch windows.
Sorry, I need to
remove that one.
It says, it says it's sharing this tab. Can you see it?
Yeah, but did you have this one up as an image? Just remove the image from the stage.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'll be able to share.
Remove. Hold on.
There you go. And then now you can share.
Now can you see? Yeah?
Yeah. Got it.
Right, fabulous, thank you. Right, so footnote says, while almost all of the third parties, which she spelt wrong there. Can you see the typo?
Requests? Which? Oh, parties. Parties. Parties.
Subpoena party. Sorry.
Parties.
Right, almost all of the third parties request to quash the subpoenas on behalf of not only themselves but also other unspecified individuals in the subpoenas. These third parties, which she's now spelt right, lack standing to do so. She's not entirely wrong. Like, it was a reach for me to say, you know, like my first request was, look, can you quash all of these subpoenas? They're ridiculous. The worst they can do is say no. So I threw it in, but she's not wrong. I don't have standing to have anything quashed for anyone else. In reality, I knew that, but it didn't. It was like an extra couple of sentences. You know, it didn't cost me anything.
We're throwing punches while we can.
Yeah, yeah, but the judge may well have taken it upon himself to kind of say, do you know what, these are all horseshit. Like, they can all come off my docket, and you
thinking about the team, which is what I love. Like, that was your very first or anything else was like, all right, let's get rid of all of them.
Well, exactly. And I mean, while she's not wrong, what I was looking to quash was a subpoena that included me, but the subpoena wasn't served on me, as it wasn't served on any of the people named in it. So this is the thing. They were subpoenaing my data. They were subpoenaing, on the X one, 19 other people's data, but they were subpoenaing X. And everyone's like, well, not everyone, a bunch of people, usually mostly pro-Lively, but I was like, they would say to me, well, why are you worrying about it? You're not the one being subpoenaed. Like, well, what do you think they're subpoenaing X for? For X's data? Don't be stupid. They are subpoenaing for my data, and I do not want them to have it. So, but the reason I threw it in anyway was because there was a possibility that the judge may have looked at the subpoenas and gone, if it's bad for one, it's bad for all of them, and just thrown it as a document out. But anyway, and this is snark because I threw in that case law about the recording. So anyway, accordingly, the court should deny the motions in their entirety, including the extent. So these are what she's saying is the court should deny the motions where we have requested beyond our individual requests. So, like, it's one thing for me to say, can you quash the part of the subpoena wanting my data? And what she's saying is anything more than that, the court should ignore it. And legally, she is right. But, like I say, if the subpoena was so bad, and if it's bad for one, it's bad for 20. She's also saying, though, and so the court should deny the motions in their entirety, including to the extent that they seek relief beyond the individual movement. So she's not actually saying the court should deny relief to the individual. She's saying that anything above me asking something for myself, the court should deny it. So she's not actually said don't deny any sanctions or fees or anything. Not on this document anyway. If there's another document that I haven't seen, then I'm happy to go and look at that.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it say nothing about the protective orders, but I was like, why does she have to include the stuff about Melissa, like the untraceable stuff? It's like, I mean, yeah, you all keep saying it's untraceable over some like text message. I don't know. I just feel like they were trying to pull some shady stuff with that, like inserting that in there. Like,
Yeah.
it's to do with
I
this.
think they're saying because Friedman's, what is Kevin? He said that he made fun of them. That's untraceable. He's like, oh, we got that word actually from you. Like very mean. Just that's what they were trying to do.
I
You
know,
have
but
to
I
read
feel like
it in
it didn't
that
fit with like the motion to quash stuff because it was like, I don't know.
They thought they were serving, but they
weren't.
No, they were not.
Yes, she did also misspell entirety. Yes, that is an option. The judge can do whatever he wants. I mean, he's going to if they're withdrawing them anyway at rapid pace, which they are, and bearing in mind it's a Saturday, so they're all working on Saturday to get rid of these subpoenas now, which is panic. Otherwise, they would have just left it until Monday. But like the deadline for responding to Cassidy's motion, and she was the first one to file, is on Monday. So it's either they start getting ready to write multiple responses to motions to quash, or they go in and just start pulling them all back quickly, and getting ahead of it then. And that's what they're doing. Yes, the judge could absolutely decide to quash all, but I don't think he's going to need to because it sounds like they're withdrawing them all.
I think we need to bring his attention back to it and about the lies that we can actually start counting. Number one is the even popcorn. It's literally there's a video about how they lied about it. Just live these lies. They love lying on video apparently. And then there is the misrepresentation about the tag.
Yeah.
Thing. And then now that they're meeting and conferring, they're misrepresenting the facts. Can you just say that 1, 2, 3, 4, judge, react? Can't you just say these things? I know you're officer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I weighed up whether to do just a letter request for request for sanctions. I could probably get 10-page and do a full motion because there's so much. Wonder Road. Technically, the judge now no longer needs to read the motion to quash. I mean, he has kind of discretion over whether he's going to read it anyway. It's up to him. Normally, though, because there's no decision needed anymore, then he won't waste his time reading something that he doesn't need to decide on. But he will have to when we when we file a motion to quash, when we file a motion for sanctions and protective order, then he will have to look at the motion to quash as well, because he's going to have to assess how unreasonable she's been. So, that will form part of that, and I don't think she's going to be able to kind of she's not going to be able to withdraw that then, so she's going to have to respond to it, which means I get to respond, and anyone else who does the same thing, and then the judge will have to look at all the information, and I will be attaching my motion to quash to it, so he will read it as part of that.
Can Blake be sued for retaliation for because you practice your freedom of speech?
No,
protecting activity. It's your freedom of speech.
No, no, because she's withdrawn it quite quickly, in fairness, and I didn't. None of us really shut up about it anyway. If anything, made us go and do content on it.
Yeah, I think this is just look. They're making content, and they're making money off of my misery of Blakey. So, sorry, I just like to.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, the complaint really needs to go to her attorney, because this isn't the judge. People are like, "Oh, why the judge allowing it?" This is not actually the judge. He has nothing to do with this. none of this is before him. It's not like the court issued the subpoena. That come from the lawyers, the attorney, Ezra. She has subpoena power, and I make a point of saying she's abusing that subpoena power in my motion to quash. Like she did, like that Samantha Katsy did with Van Zandt, right? You're privileged to have powers bestowed upon you. That's given in trust, and one of the things you're trusted not to do is to abuse it. And when you're filing frivolous subpoenas to intimidate people or to circumvent the law, then that is abusing the process. But who can play that game? No, I'm just going to say, right, because I'm going to answer this question here. I've been asked a lot of times, right? Well, because the judge has had that whole the judge had that whole rule about you can't file anonymously or under a pseudonym unless you have to file an entire argument giving very personal information to explain why you should be given, should be able to file something without sharing personal information, right? Mm-hmm. To me, because we wouldn't do that over here, that just sounded stupid, right? And I know Cassidy, she has one of the people who works with her company, she made them a manager so she could put them down, and that's how she got around that. People picked up on me because I've been very clear. Leanne Newton is not my real name. It's not. So when people are trying to search for me and dox me and all that, right, they're like, oh, we can't find you. No, because it's not my real name, and you're not having my real name. Because you do things like that, you try to dox me. So I had a lot of people say to me, well, you filed as Leanne Newton and you didn't do any motion at all. So that must be your real name, right? Either that or you're violating the judge's ruling, the judge's, rules around filing. No, I got around that quite easily. When the Google subpoenas start to drop, over here we have a process called deed poll, where 5 minutes online, I can fill in a form, pay a small fee, and legally change my name and basically get a document that makes it entirely legal. I can put it on a passport and all kinds of other government ID. It becomes my legal name. So that's what I did. I legally changed my name to Leanne Newton for this.
Dang.
And that's how I get around that. And I didn't have to then file anything, disclose anything, nothing. And it has to be accepted because it's perfectly legal in this country. I did it before I filed, so I was already legal by the time I filed, and I can change it back now.
Be careful, X is gonna take this.
No, I can do it. There's absolutely nothing illegal about it. No one can do anything about that at all. But Manat are not the only people who know how to circumvent a process. Anonymity was important because of everyone has heard, parts of what happened to me with my abuse. I was not going to compromise it, but I was going to fight for my data.
Yep.
So, I did whatever I had to.
I felt like they try to go through different levels of unmasking because they knew that, you have to file under your real name. And so that was one of the ways. And then, with the Zoom and the IPs, and then with the, run around, leave a voicemail, it was like they were trying to unmask these people. Because there's a lot of private creators. I mean, sure, there was like Lauren and Ashley who, show their faces and, use their names and stuff. But there's a lot of private people that got subpoenaed that was like,
yeah, exactly.
Like Ken's, who just goes by Ken's, you know what I mean? And then she had to go on record. And part of the reason why she went to the media and now her name's out in the media and stuff is because she's like, I'm going to have to use my name anyways to file. So a lot of these people had to use their, legal names out there, which is another crazy part.
Yeah,
Of,
and that ability, because when I've said it to Americans, like a couple of Americans, what I did, and I've said it to a few Canadians, and like, what, you can just do that? Yeah, actually, we can just do that. It is perfectly legal. It becomes my legal name. And it's a simple process. It's goes through proper channels. You got to have witnesses and things. So there's but it's quite a simple process. And I can changed it in advance of this process, and now I can change it back. Now I'm out of it once I've done my motions for sanctions, and it's as simple as that. But that's the position that we were put in, though, was we had to then find ways around where we could fight for our data and our privacy whilst remaining private, because you have to almost dox yourself just to file. I mean, the rules were ridiculous. And when the judge said to kind of clap back at Cassidy and was like, well, sent her thing back and said, you have to do it this way. You have to file a motion. It's like Perez Hilton, also had to file and request anonymity. The judge makes a decision on that. That's not a guarantee. Just because you filed the request doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm. Because wasn't it, her business manager's name is now known. So it's like for Cassidy's. And then, like I said about Mackenzie's, it's like, I don't know. I think that's another thing that we don't like, trying to put her feet to the fire, Blake Lively's. Like how many people's lives were, affected. Just like, it's just like she caused so much turmoil in the last 2 weeks that it's crazy. It was like a tornado, like a Tasmanian devil just coming in, like zzz,
it was exactly.
And then being like, oops, did I do that? Like,
and it's worse because like it really does look like it was never a genuine good faith subpoena. She had no intention of following it through the process properly. So
I always thought, why didn't they tell y'all like what it was? Like,
they didn't tell us anything. I never got a response. Lauren didn't get a response. I don't think Ashley did. I don't think Cassidy did.
Why couldn't they tell y'all? Like, just, oh, we issued it because Lauren's had a little bit more detail where it said something about like if you interacted with the content that they believed was, and it's like, okay, well then which content was interacted with?
They were so vague. There was nothing they would point to and be like, oh, that's not how you do these things. When
unprofessional.
No, it's not professional, but it's not how it's done in law either. Like if you're saying I'm relying on this, well, what is that? I have to be able to see it and verify it for myself. How do I know if I have interacted with that content? What is it about that content? Give me some details. You can't just point out into the ether and go, well, somewhere over there was a YouTube video. I think you clicked, you liked it, and from that we're going to put you on this and collect all this data. No, fuck off. I know, I'm getting annoyed. I know. I'm just going to quickly touch on these because people have been waiting for a while. I'm really sorry. So, innately healed. How does confirmation of withdrawal have to be sent to Google from you? I wasn't on Google. I was on the X list, and Manat did send confirmation. I had that on the screen not long ago because they sent me a copy of what they sent to X, telling them, you don't need to provide my information. I have emailed X's legal notices email, and I have sent them a copy as well as a copy of my motion to quash, and I have asked them to confirm to me that they are, they haven't complied with anything, and they will not be. So I will update everyone if I get, a proper response and not a, have you tried turning it off and then on again response. Do I trust them to tell Google? Yeah, I do, because they have shown me that they've done it with X. So do I trust them if you just stopped at that? I would say no, but they have actually sent me a copy of the notice they've sent to X about my account. So it certainly does appear that they have notified X not to provide any information about my account. So hopefully they will also do that for Google and TikTok. Fingers crossed. And I got one more. Steph Bowen, hope you get all legal fees and or sanctions. Thank you. Because I did it myself, thankfully I didn't incur any legal fees other than my time and £400 in cruise ship internet for 2 weeks. so I would have been able to respond, but I don't think if I submit that receipt that they're going to pay that. Yeah, it would. I mean, I don't think the people who paid legal fees, I think they're going to have to take that on the chin. I don't think they're going to get that back. That's just the nature of litigation. They weren't being subpoenaed directly, so taking on a lawyer was, arguably it was a choice. It's something I did say personally. I didn't think it was necessary. I think these were easy subpoenas to quash. And they ended up being as well. And we did offer as well this is not something Blake Lively's going to say, but we kind of did the templates in American law, in British law, and in Canadian law, and we could have looked it up anywhere else in the world, but we're not aware of anywhere else in the world that was affected. But we had templates to go, which we were kind of offering around to anyone that wanted it.
You get a template. I don't know, I'm just laughing at this.
I think Ken's used our template. I'm pretty sure she said she did use our template as well. So it did get used, and the people who've used that have obviously they've been now quashed quite quickly without any effort. Because I know the people who had lawyers now have to pay for legal fees in the various letters and emails that have gone back. I think a few have had a meeting confers. This is going to rack up quite a bit of money, probably a few grand, just for something that I'm personally, I mean, it's a choice. That's just it. And that's my overriding point is, it was a choice to take on lawyers for this. I didn't think it was necessary, but I guess that comes from I probably have a bit more confidence about handling these things, and for someone who's not part of the legal profession, it is certainly a very daunting thing. So I do understand, why people make the decisions they made. Sanctions, we'll definitely be fighting for them. So, but thank you very much. What else was I going to? I was going to say something else. Anyone? Have you got anything you wanted to add to that?
No, just I feel like you summed it all up. I mean, we're waiting to see what's next. Here I thought it was all over, and then I forgot about the sanctions and holding them accountable and stuff. So hopefully you get that all in and can enjoy your vacation without having to go back and forth. But yeah, my only questions were just is the judge just not going to read all that stuff? And then just how crazy it was that they in their letter said, meet and confer and all that stuff, like what Anita was saying about how they just continuously dig themselves deeper in their docs as far as the public opinion, because we're reading all this wait, what? That don't make no sense. So
I know, yeah, this was a bizarre choice. I do not know what on earth persuaded. I don't know who was the actual deciding factor around here. I can only think this is a client-led decision. I imagine that the lawyers have been having late night drinking binges and losing sleep, not literally, just kind of with the stress and anxiety that they probably had with this, because it was so foreseeable this was going to turn into a disaster. But this sounds like something that clients demanded they do anyway.
And it seems like they had to add more lawyers. It's you're paying more money for it. For what? I don't know. And even the content creators who offered, to write a letter saying I'm gonna I never got paid. Can I just submit an affidavit? And
yeah,
they were like, no. And so it was just okay, but
yeah, people offered all kinds of stuff. Look, I'll do a declaration. There were all kinds of things. I think some may have tried to negotiate. I'm not sure. I'm not saying some did, but I don't know. But I can imagine, like, the ones with lawyers, this is why they would have cost quite a bit as well, is they would have been going through the whole back and forth of negotiation. Like, what is there to negotiate here? You're not getting the data. Well, it's not part of a smear campaign. You have not proved that I was part of a smear campaign. So you're not having the data. That was my starting point, was like, I know you're not getting this, but also I'm going to give you some home truths while I'm here. I didn't come to play.
Nope.
Like, that was absolutely a mistake to have kind of brought me into it, because I didn't have time for this crap. I have enough going on in my life. Which and that's the worst thing, right? Is I know they're watching my account, and they know this. They know what I've been through, and they know about my little girl who has round the clock care, and they know I haven't got time for this bollocks.
Can I say, people know me as a theorist. I'm telling you, this is what I think is happening. Her deposition is coming up. They're going to withdraw their case. Or they're going to, I don't think Blake is sitting for deposition. There's just no way. There's just too much video evidence of her lying, and the way she is, like, I don't think she cannot act to save her life anyway. And I think this was supposed to create an illusion. And then I kind of also think that they were going to try to show that, we tried to get the information, but, but we were not allowed to. But we were told this. I really feel like this is what they're going for. Because, as you said, that why would they do it? They're not going to litigate. I think that, like, they're control their case. Because they found that there's nothing, obviously. I think they confess that although they could have, hidden their contacts from August, didn't they write something like that in their thing when they were talking about the tag AEOs? I think they mentioned something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So they're kind of confessing that they couldn't find anything about August, so they're trying to do it now.
So my moderator is looking for something. There's been a question asked, and Laura is very kindly trying to find it for me. But she has given me the question. So, do I think the judge can read the motions if he wanted to, even if the few subpoenas are withdrawn? Yes. Judge, if they stay on the docket and there's no request to have them stricken, and even if they request it, they're not just going to be stricken. There's got to be grounds, and the judge has got to agree with it. But yes, the judge has his full discretion to read it or not read it. Is he going to have to read it if I include my motion as part of my next motion? If I include the motion to quash as part of my motion for sanctions and protective order, yes, he's going to have to read it then. And there's nothing there for Blake Lively to try and withdraw to get that out from under his eyes, so he will read that. Not stupid. Yes, Aurora, definitely. I think this probably was Ryan Reynolds' idea. It kind of screams Ryan Reynolds, doesn't it? Do something this stupid.
Yeah, I kept thinking about all the motions in the docket. Like, why would you want to put all that in front of the judge to be like, I don't know. It's like he already has so much reading to do and stuff. To me, it just felt like, why would you do that? Like, I could see if it was just like X and then just Twitter, but if like you knew that X is going to notify them, and then all of those 20 people, and then all of the, other 40 people or whatever.
But what's the worst thing about this, though, right? Is and when the whole thing with the Venable subpoena come out, right? Taylor Swift's lawyers, and they were subpoenaed back in April by Brian Friedman. And bearing in mind, right, she was sat there, telling the world all through the marketing that Taylor Swift was by her side. She experienced everything, right? So it was not an unreasonable subpoena. Even if there wasn't the whole thing about the extortion and delete your messages and all that, it wasn't unreasonable to subpoena Taylor Swift for what she did. What did she or did she not know? The question's got to be asked. I'm not saying she knew anything, but Brian Friedman was within his rights to at least subpoena her and ask the questions. What did you see? What did she tell you? You know, were
Because
you
she
aware of
stipulated
anything?
information. She
Yeah,
put it in the so they were trying to like almost do the same thing, but it was like, but our names or your names weren't on there. So it's like
yeah.
that doesn't make no sense. Taylor's name was actually like who has information about this, and Taylor's name
Yeah.
was there. So, and then she came back and was like, "No, you can't subpoena her because there's no
Because she
reason.
has
And
nothing
she
to
has
do.
nothing
Yeah,
to do with this, right? Isn't that what they wrote? She has nothing to do with this. It's like, but you said
but
she
neither
did.
did I. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit, right? And it's stuff like this. I will be saying like, I had nothing to do with it, but I got a subpoena. I can't make sense of that. And the worst bit is, right, and it does annoy me, is she's not saying why. I've had absolutely no reason why. And I don't understand that at all. And it's like, it's really pissed me off. It's taken away time from my family, from my little girl, just, time to rest even. Because I was kind of, especially with Lauren and Ashley, I'd be up on their time. And Ashley has said this very clearly in her videos too. She gave me a huge shout out, and I'm giving Leanne flowers. She was so sweet about it. But like, I would be up on their time, sitting, which is the middle of the night for me, sitting and be reading something they sent to me, and then I'd be like adding some changes and, oh, what do you think about this, and what do you want me to add, is there anything you want me to take away, is there anything important, and then I would go away and I'd put the law into it as well, and then I'd feed it back to him, and then we'd be, it would not just be one night, it would be a couple of nights, 3 or 4 nights in a row, where we'd be doing this back and forth, and what do you think about this, and what do you think about that, and bouncing ideas off each other. And that was for each one. And I lost so much sleep. It's untrue.
And what about also like that when you say, "Oh, I lost so much sleep"? Remember when the costume designer on It Ends With Us was talking about how Blake would send her like new pictures in the middle of the night of new costumes, and like I don't know, it just always reminds me like how much sleep did that lady lose? Like the budget is over budget. You're stressed out. Blake Lively's messaging you all night long. Like it's just so crazy how she damages people in that way. And my Roman Empire is going to be like for the rest of the week until she says something is there was no evidentiary basis for why they did it. It's like that why is going to linger. Because I'm like a sleuth. I want to know everything. That's why I sleuth. So I can find answers. And this one is just it's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
You know why? Why did she do it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep on like, I'm telling you, this is a PR. They wanted to show that all these people that are talking, and they just went for the random ones, the ones that are popular, the ones that are not. Like they just went like, oh, everybody's against me. This is sometimes way more simple than you think.
But we looked at the list, and there were, like I say, there was some that were serious content creators who were well known specifically for following this case and talking about it. And most of them were on the Google subpoena. Then there was me also on the X. Like, and we looked at it, it was like me, Shusty, Andy, Ashley, Lauren, Cassidy. And we've all worked with each other. We've all collaborated with each other. Like, we're part of like a little group where, we talk to each other a lot. We're often on each other's shows. So, and it feels like, because the other names then feel kind of a bit outside of that circle. You can easily see, a good nearly 10 people, nearly a quarter of the entirety of the subpoenas are people who work very closely with each other and collaborated together, support each other. And then there's, aside, well, I don't count the Twitter one particularly because most of them are not even the accounts that are functioning. So I don't know.
My theory was that all the other like random accounts are the small ones. We kind of like to throw off so that it wouldn't seem targeted to you guys.
Oh yeah, Because like Janessa, we all sat, didn't we? And we're like, Janessa does not make sense. Like she's such a small account. Like,
Mhm.
and she wasn't even talking about Blake Lively, and it's like things like that with it's almost like it was thrown in as a token, and it made no sense at all.
Well, my theory with Janessa was always she didn't want her Mercury retrograde stuff out there. Like, don't be telling people I'm having a bad month. Star-wise, that was always my theory with Janessa.
Yeah, I'm inclined to
really
agree.
did, like reader stars and stuff.
So, Pete, yeah, so I'm not sure I'm going to be. I don't think I'm going to be submitting a complaint about Lyman. Reason being is he did not have anything to do with these subpoenas being issued. That was actually nothing. My dog is, when dogs dream and they kind of woof in their sleep.
I think your dog disagrees and thinks you should complain. Like, that's how I took it, but
But no, seriously, Judge Lyman had nothing to do with the issuance of these subpoenas. This was all Ezra Hudson, and the attorneys have the power to issue subpoenas. They can do that. They don't need a judge for that. The judge will only hear about them then, like now when the motion to quash is or some kind of objection is put in front of them. Whether it be a motion to compel, motion to quash, as has happened here. But he's unlikely to have to get involved because she's running around pulling all the plugs out. She's like, Judge, don't worry about it. There's nothing to see here.
it wasn't me. Just like, who said it? Like, I can just this has become a spectacle, really. Like this is the best telenovela I've watched in my life, probably. This is just, it's been an emotional roller coaster.
And the fact that when you think it's almost over, well, not over, but it's like, you're waiting in between seasons, which is what I thought was going to happen with this case until like the trial came. Like I thought that'd be like a lull, right? But it's like right when there's a lull, then it's like Subpoena Gay or like Van Zandt or like something new comes up right when there's like a little lull. It's like y'all should have just laid low until the trial, and they don't understand that concept.
No.
Got somebody keeping toenails in the back of the bathroom. Get ready. But she said it was somebody painting their nails, but then it was just weird, and then they blurred it. I was like, it looked like somebody, but maybe she was sitting there painting her nails on the toilet because it looked like somebody was going on the toilet.
Yeah, they're painting their nails.
Don't give people ammo. You know how much she does out of that?
She kind of gives stuff for people to go, what is wrong with you? No. But so that's going to be my next thing anyways, to put something in. I think we're going to do it like we'll probably write something together, but we'll submit our own individuals. Because Ezra Hudson's made a fair comment that like I don't have standing to speak for other people, and that's right. Okay, so I'll take her advice. And we'll probably write the same thing because we've all got the same grudge. So if one writes a good one, we just share it. That's not actually Golden also said that was a good idea because you want to keep the same thing anyway, because the more you give them, the more they can pull apart. But yeah, so my next thing is going to be sanctions, protective order. See what happens. But as long as I can get that motion to quash in front of the judge, that's the main thing.
I mean, you didn't work that hard on it for it not to get some eyeballs on it.
I spent 2 weeks solidly where I've not been able to create content. I've not been able to do my threads on the filings. I've not slept. I've not eaten properly. I've been exhausted beyond belief over this and stressed. So going forward, yeah, I'm really pissed off. I'm pissed off.
I did that to you. I feel like
I
just gotta say sorry. Like I know I didn't do them, but I'm sorry she did that to you because it's messed up. It's really messed up.
Well, you've been a pillar of support as always, but like I'm really like, and I can. This is what I mean. Like as I said at the start, this is something that I'm okay dealing with these. I can deal with filings. Normally, I don't actually care. It's the fact that I didn't ask to be part of all of this. I'm just talking about filings. That's it. And I still haven't had the reason why my name's here. But I mean, I spent time on those motions. They are going to get in front of the judge one way or another.
Yep.
And
the game is still going on.
Well, we have every right to board
and be like, game's over, and Leanne's like, no.
We have every right to be filing for sanctions because this has been absolutely disgraceful. It is terrible lawyering. It is. In some ways, it's right up there with Van Zandt. Like I say, for me personally, I literally felt like, oh, well, this is going to be Van Zandt again. I didn't even get the notice. But my stuff was subpoenaed, and I did not get a notice.
And it's a part of a bigger conversation about how these media platforms handle our data. And like what Anita was saying, how it took, 2 weeks to notify the Google people, and then how the X people didn't get notified until after the dates where it was due. So to me, it's
TikTok
like every single citizen, not just like the people who got subpoenaed. It's like, well, what the heck is X and Google doing, like with our data when people ask for it? And the TikTok people didn't even get notified.
No, that's right.
TikTok is because of Kevin Fritz and him putting it out there, which was great that he had the content creators' backs. But yeah, the TikTok people never, as far as we know, right, didn't receive anything.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Same with the other X people, though. It's like 18 other X people. That's more than the entire Google subpoena, by the way. And I haven't heard any of those 18 other people. It's only myself and one other person I've heard, publicly say, "Oh, we were subpoenaed on this subpoena," but no, none of the other 18 from the X. And I think might have been one or two missing from the Google. I can't remember if they were all accounted for, but I didn't hear anyone from the TikTok one. And like I say, until Kevin Fritz came out with the list, and then people started messaging these accounts going, "Oh my God, you're on this subpoena." And they're like, "Oh, really? Did not know." It's ridiculous. And the thing is, right, is people are like, "Well, they didn't, they got your name wrong. Well, you could just leave it alone." No, that's not how that works. And I don't know, because in my head, and this is perfectly logical because, having worked in this industry myself, this is exactly what I would do, right? Is Edward Hudson sends the subpoena to X. X goes, "Yeah, we've got all these accounts except this one, though. Nothing come up for this account. Do you want to check the spelling?" Or offers, says, "Well, we've only got one other account. Was it this?" I think it's more likely to be check the spelling, because I don't think they're going to give out information and suggestions. It's up to Ezra Hudson to prove that she needs that information, not for X to suggest it. But I think in no time, the possibility is that happened quite quickly. She checks, goes, "Oh yeah, sorry, I made a mistake," and then corrects them, and then they're going through all the stuff. I don't know what they're handing over. I don't know what advocacy is going on behind the scenes on my behalf and everyone else's behalf, because no one's talking to us, and that's not just with X. It was a problem with Google. We saw that quite publicly, and it's definitely been a problem with TikTok, because it sounds like no one got notified full stop. So we had to be proactive. Otherwise, for all we knew, our data could have been handed over. And once it's handed over, you can't put it back. And we've seen what Blake Lively does with data when she gets it. She puts it in the New York Times, or she makes it very public somehow. And there's no way she was going to get my information, and I was then going to say, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't have had that. Can I have it back?" That's what I need. That was my thinking anyway. So Ignoring it just because there was a typo, no. In fact, actually, there is in Rule 45, and I did say this in my motion to quash, under Rule 45, which is the third-party subpoenas, federal rules of civil procedure. There is what's called a substantial compatibility test, and there's established case law, as there is in the UK as well. Like I could have cited UK law as well, but I cited the American, and there is law that says a typo, if you are able to identify who the person is, if it's obvious who that person is, then the subpoena is not voided. And when I saw it, when we saw the clear version, but even the unclear smudgy version, my name was like, it was clear to me that it meant me. It was clear to the person who actually received the subpoena and all the notices, because she contacted me and said, I think this is you. So if it's clear to myself and it's clear to someone else, but when we had the clear version of that request and you could see my name clearly, then, it was pretty obvious who that was intended for, because that account, as it was written on the subpoena, did not exist, but it offered one suggestion, and that was my account. So there was no alternative. There was nothing that came even close to it.
I still think that it was intentional. I think it was.
No, I do, honestly.
And I think they were literally, I know you don't like, I think they're going to drop they were preparing to actually for a narrative, for a PR narrative.
Yeah.
And, they didn't think the, what is it called? The X and Google would give the data away. And also it was right before her deposition, right? So that's another thing. So everybody was notified around before her deposition. And they had an emergency thing where they could reschedule her deposition. What is it called? Because of what's his name, Jed Wallace. They could reschedule her deposition. Also the time is just sketchy, like how it came out, because it came out right the day before she was going to be deposed, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
So I still think there's something fishy by Google and X as well.
Yeah.
I
don't disagree with you.
This was a coordinated smear campaign, if anybody is looking for, by the way. This was a smear campaign.
Blake Lively's looking for one. There's one going spare.
Yeah. She has officially managed to smear herself and content creators and Baldoni. So
well, she did. Well, that's just it, right? And I'm going to wrap up with this point. Is actually she did smear us, because I can't tell you how many threats and how many shitty comments. I mean, I'm probably going to download a bunch of them and put them in the motions for sanction. Actually, pro-Lively supporters. Oh, you're on some list, or having a go at us, trying to dox us, being abusive to us. We've had to endure all kinds of stuff, because between this and the way the tag interrogatory and everything, the request to unseal and all that was all went on. It really did make it look like we were on some kind of list, and this is evidence now that you were definitely was part of the smear campaign, and we did actually get smeared as a result. That is not a joke. That is very serious. So
can you put that in your motion, please?
I wouldn't, if it weren't already in my plan, I wouldn't have said it. Trust me. Already 2 steps ahead. But yeah, no, that's what that happened. Is people were coming at us aggressively. We knew it. You're on a list. Well, at this point, the list was unsealed. I think ex-patriarch even went on Reddit last night and said, "Oh, okay, I admit I was wrong."
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When that tag list came out, it got really bad for y'all.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I was telling you about it, wasn't I, in real time, about how stressful it was. everyone then started the whole doxing thing again. It's like, oh, for God's sake, try to speak out for myself, right? I talked about my own experience of abuse, and I tried to speak up for myself. And you got all these people then who, walk around in some kind of formation and, like perpetuating the narrative that they support women who have been abused. Only the women, though, that actually say what they want them to say, who believe what they want them to believe, right? If you have a different opinion, then you're not one of the women that they want to support. They'll tear you down at all cost. And it makes no sense. It really doesn't, because where I look at it is I sit here, I don't pay attention to them. I just sit here and I report on the filings and give my opinion. And I don't talk really about anyone who supports Blake Lively. I don't sit there making a point of reposting their quote, their stuff they posted, and then added my own kind of bullshit about, well, they're an awful person here, and they're lying, or don't know what they're talking about, or calling us bold, Odie Simpson, all kinds of stuff. We don't sit there doing that. They don't seem to be making content that actually supports Blake Lively. They just seem to be there to make content that pulls people who believe Justin Baldoni apart. And that's the difference between us and them. But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna leave that one there, I think, because I could get into it.
I think I'm gonna need to leave soon, but I think one thing you can remember, this is like you literally made the whole Manat thing withdraw their subpoenas thanks to your, like, you helped Ashley, Cassidy, Lauren, and you shut them all up. That's what you did, and that they can never take that away from you. So
no, it was like I say, it was definitely a team. It was all teamwork. I love those girls a lot, and we're really good friends. It's a wonderful community, and more than that, it's a family. And beyond those three as well, there's so many group chats, and we're all talking and sharing things, whether you've been subpoenaed or not. And we do it all the time, and it's wonderful to be part of. But when a handful of us are all going through this same thing, there is they're like holding each other up and kind of, talking each other off ledges. And that's been really special. So, and like I say, as people who haven't been subpoenaed, who have been incredible, in particular, there's, CJ and Lara and Roman and Ludwig, who, personally, I would be lost without all of them. I really would. And they've been a pillar of support.
Yeah, and so just to wrap it up on my side, yeah, I think it showed incredible strength from Team Baldoni. It showed that what we can do when we work together. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen or been able to watch. It's how you guys all came together and like just worked so hard, staying up late and collaborating and all that stuff. It was really, really cool to witness.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, we got to show the world that side of Team Baldoni, whereas, Blake still keeps showing, their true colors as they keep going and going and going. It's like we're seeing more and more. It's like an onion. They're peeling back all their layers that we're getting to see. And then, when we're challenged, you guys are walking on hot coals and making it like all the way through. Like what? Like we didn't do nothing wrong. We're going to defend ourselves. And now we're on the other side of this. So I'm really proud of everybody who, was brave enough to like come forward and do all that stuff. It's cool to be part of that community. Yeah,
it is. There really is a lot of love there. That's just it. And I mean, some people really do attempt to put a divide, and there's no point. We support each other through everything, and there's no point even trying. But we've been going for 2 hours, so I'm knackered. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. My time.
I know y'all saw me muted. I was eating some little muffins because it's dinner time over here. And I'm like, I'm gonna mute just to get something in my stomach because and
last night was feta. Now it's muffins.
Oh yeah, yesterday I had the little because I had shared with Leanne and Laura that I was getting my snack prepped for Lauren's live. She read her motion to quash. Well, she had her friend read it. She was on a live, and I'm like, yeah, I'm prepping my snack for it. So that was kind of fun. I wanted to plug Leanne's show on Monday morning with Ashley real quick, if I
Yes.
can. She's going to be on with Ashley, Brianna, Eve on her channel. It was the feta cheese. I know, Laura. I had a feta cheese, lettuce, and tortilla snack. But yeah, she's gonna be on Monday with Ashley, Brianna, Eve. So y'all make sure to go check out Leanne there.
Yeah. And now, once I've got this, when I get back from my holiday, actually, because I don't want to start something, I'm gonna have to pause. When I get back from my holiday, me and CJ are doing our ridiculous laws that are still in force around the world segment that we have now plugged 2 or 3 times. So I'm not going to do it again, but we'll pick a regular slot for that because it's like we're planning probably an hour long each week or a half hour long. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, we'll get on with that, and hopefully Cassidy will be able to go with me as well to do the the infamous historical murders and crimes type thing, Jack the Ripper and the gunpowder plot and stuff like that, if you're interested in that kind of thing.
Julianne says, keep plugging. I'm forgetful. Yeah. Well, sure. See, I just learned how to use my YouTube community. So I posted this live on the YouTube community because, I mean, I knew it was there, but I never really use it. And I'm like, it's kind of like X, it's kind of like you can tune people in, like this is what's going on or whatever. So I'll make sure I post something whenever we do start that up.
And I was me and Anita, we're gonna have to sit down and read and think about what we were gonna do something, weren't we, on a weekly basis, a little something. So we'll sit and work that out as well. I haven't forgotten. It's just been a wild month.
And also, after you guys, basically this whole time I've been having anxiety to post anything, and after you guys got subpoenaed, I was like, that maybe that was my instinct not to do anything, and I was waiting for the 31st. I was like, that's the deadline, I'll start posting after that.
No, that's good. I'm not back until the 15th of August anyway. Well, I will still be posting though.
I was going to say, now that you
just bought the internet, you better still.
I bought the internet now, so I may as well use.
Yes, please.
But it won't be as detailed as like I would normally do at home. So, but I will try and keep up with the filings. I'm probably convert less to X posts and probably just jump on and read them straight on live because that might be the easier for me. Then because X posts, especially the threads, take hours to write, whereas I could go on a live stream and read a letter a bit like Lauren does, I guess, but maybe elaborate on the law a little bit. So I'll figure it out, and I'll obviously have a backup plan in place as well with other content creators. Like if I can't get to something, can someone do something for me? Probably a combination of CJ, and I'll see what Lauren can do as well, actually. So we will do that. But yeah, we've got 3 new segments on my channel to work on, so that'll be coming really soon. To answer the question, when will I submit my motion for sanctions and protective order? I'm guessing this is what this is, and I've seen a few questions that are similar. I will be doing something before I go on holiday on Thursday. So I will have filed it by Thursday at the latest. So keep a lookout.
All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, thank you.
Good evening and good night.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy y'all's weekend.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.